You still see the door? Hello and welcome to another live tasting. Come here from my office. Jessica's joining me today, and she's going to be typing the notes that I write. Let's see if we can see all the bourbons. So you can see everything that we're tasting right here today, and I've got a little bit over here. Basically, it's a big old mess. So bear with me. Gonna be a lot of fun. Let's play with the light a second. Let's see what it looks like with the light on. So everybody can hear me okay? Do we have a turn on? Everyone can hear me okay. Is that a thumbs up? Yep. Let's leave it like this. Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, all right. So we have good. I sound magical. Thank you, Ben Dodds. You type magically. So some news to start the day off, to start this off today. Rabbit Hole, a distillery in Louisville, Kentucky, sold, and the Pernod Ricard acquired the majority of Rabbit Hole. So Rabbit Hole now joins the Smooth Ambler distillery in Pernod Ricard's portfolio for American whiskey. The irony is that Pernod Ricard actually sold Wild Turkey in 2009 to Campari. So we're seeing a trend of this. People who got out of the bourbon business trying to get back into it because bourbon's hot. Also, I got my haircut today, and my millennial hairdresser tuned me in on some new cool words that I want to start trying to use in my tasting notes. Now, I don't know how many of you all are young, but as you can see, I'm pretty gray, and cool words don't come up for me a lot. So I learned that flame, like that is so flame, is like really cool right now. It's really in. And if you say something is chronic, like, man, that was chronic. That's like saying, from my day, that's like saying that was the bomb de Lyon. And another one is fire. Like, oh man, that's fire. And what seems to be trending out is that's dope. So I'm not going to be using that's dope. So you're going to see some new words come out of me today. Jessica's a little nervous, I can tell. And it's also National Bourbon Day. Let me just tell you that this is not a real holiday. This is one of those fake internet days that they just get things trending on social media, and that's pretty cool. So I mean, Mother's Day, Father's Day, all that stuff was really, created by Hallmark anyway. So, I mean, how many holidays were really created by some kind of somebody trying to sell something? But every day is National Bourbon Day for me. And my magazine Bourbon Plus, which I hope everyone's a subscriber. My magazine Bourbon Plus, tweeted earlier, asked, how are you celebrating National Bourbon Day? And my comment was, well, like every day, with a sip of bourbon and hating vodka. So remember, vodka sucks. So let's go ahead and get to this. We are going to start with Jeptha Creed 4-grain straight bourbon whiskey. That's what it looks like. Now, this is a press sample, and what you would get in a store would be in a normal bottle. So this is 98 proof, 2 years old, and hit the market on May 10th. It is a mash bill of 70% Bloody Butcher corn. Now, Bloody Butcher is kind of a varietal of corn. It's an old school varietal of corn that's making a return, and Jeptha Creed's a big part of that. 15% malted rye. Now, that's not something you see every day. Malted rye is not as common as malted barley, and then malted wheat. So we've got malted rye, we got malted wheat, and of course, malted barley. So 70% Bloody Butcher corn, 15% malted rye, 10% malted wheat, and 5% malted barley. For those who don't know, Jeptha Creed is a new distillery founded by a mother-daughter combo, and they're in Shelbyville, Kentucky, right off I-64. So if you're ever driving along, stop by, take a look. Oh, and Jessica tells me it's about 10 minutes from the new Bullet Distillery. In the middle of nowhere. Okay, this is obviously young. You get that kind of like charcoaly smell that is not indicative of something that you would want to be sipping, but you also can see the promise here. Like this nose has some really nice vanilla notes to it, so that's very promising. But there's a big layer of like charcoal, and then underneath you've got some vanilla. Yeah, it's that charcoal kind of stays around, but it's a little bit more of a like a charred marshmallow, like an really overcooked marshmallow that you just stuck in the fire and is like really crispy. And you have to bite a while to get in there to that marshmallow goodness. So yeah, it's kind of that it starts there, brings in some corn. It's got a little bit of fruit to it. And I'll just say that this is showing promise, and this is what you want to see for something at 2 years old. You don't want to. You're not expecting to be wowed. You're not expecting to be having your back hair stand up or your neck hair stand up. For those who don't have back hair, and there's all kinds of promise shown here. So I'm gonna give it one more taste. And I'll say too that the mouthfeel is very attractive. It has got some nice oil mouthfeel to it. I actually do not know if I don't know the filtration method used on this one. So that is the Jeptha Creed. If you follow me, you know that I don't score things unless I've tasted it 3 times. I think it's unfair to a whiskey to judge it. For me to score it on a single taste, because I could be influenced by what I had for lunch, which, by the way, was a chicken Caesar salad. So now we are going to Pursuit Series number 8. Pursuit Series number 8. This is uncut, unfiltered, 9-year-old, 103.8 proof. It is barrel number 46. And as you all know, I am partners with these guys on the Bourbon Pursuit podcast, but I am not affiliated with their brand. So, and they know that I will review their stuff objectively. And if I say it sucks, then I think it sucks. And no hard feelings there, at least. They said there wouldn't be any hard feelings. And this is, I believe, from Tennessee. Yes, it's Tennessee. So that's code word for George Dickel. See if you all can see that. So this is what I'm tasting now. Oh, wow, this is nice. Really. All kinds of like fruits and nuts in there. Definitely some caramel, some vanilla, and I dare say marzipan. Hit the marzipan button. Beep, beep, beep. We should get a marzipan button. Oak and saddle leather. Wow. That is really good. That is really, really good. I find that I find that there's a particular mouthfeel on this that's kind of it just drips down the jawline, and there's like some coconut there's some chocolate, there's some cinnamon, I'm getting some like saltwater taffy. This has really got a lot going on. The question was, is it wet saddle leather or just regular? I'm going to have to say I need to check. It's been a while since I've smelled a wet saddle. But I know exactly what you're saying. That's a little bit about how I kind of train my palates. I'm always smelling, paying attention to what I'm smelling. So, Jessica, we need to get a saddle.
A wet saddle.
Oh, we need to get a wet saddle.
Got it.
And so let's get that on the agenda. Wet saddle. This is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Very, very long finish. Very, very long finish with like a hint of dark chocolate. I'm excited to taste this again for the next 3 times. Okay, now we're gonna jump over a little bit. Now we're going into we're gonna taste a Scotch. I'm gonna taste Dewars blended Scotch whiskey, double series, 32 years old. It has a proof of 92, and it is finished in PX sherry casks. The cost, $298. Now, why am I tasting a Scotch on National Bourbon Day? Because I got to taste it. This is work, and this woman back here is upset with me because I am not tasting fast enough for her schedule. But the thing is, if I tasted all these bottles in my office and fall over dead, nobody wants that. Well, maybe some people want it, but I sure in the shit don't want it. Woo! We got a honey bomb up in here. Wait, no. That was not one of the cool new words I was supposed to use. So I messed that. Yeah, somewhat. So this nose is chronic.
No.
No, is that wrong?
What was the other one? Fire?
This nose is fire. Hey, that sounds like it's bad because fire and alcohol could mean like it's too hot. No.
Dope.
Nah, I don't want to say dope. I don't think the new words apply. So Jay, if you're watching, I'm sorry, but I gotta stay old. I tried to be young. But really honey, really malty, brown sugar, some eucalyptus. There's a flower, like a lily in here. It's like a particular smell. This is just really, really nice. It just gets on the palate, just kind of drips melted butter. Like the inside of an oyster shell, so there's a little bit of brine in there. Some fruits like confectionery fruits, like they've been sugared and like dried down. So like dried apricot. And then there's some spice. Like this spice hits my palate so differently than like the bourbons do. This spice hits the middle of my palate and goes back and then jumps to the roof and kind of like tickles the roof of my palate a little bit. That's a really fascinating mouthfeel, is when a whiskey hits the palate and then jumps up and kind of tickles the inside of your palate. So this is very fun. I'm going to give this a very long finish, and with the hint of honey. There's a really nice honey note in there. So one more taste to confirm. That's an excellent whiskey. So I can highly, highly recommend Dewar's 32-year-old blended Scotch. This is absolutely fantastic. Did we get a? Did the Heaven Hill?
They just wrote me to ask.
I mean, we've been waiting for the Heaven Hill package.
Have a package.
We don't have a package. I'd tell him I'd love to live taste it right now.
He's watching.
Well, Josh, if you're watching, we'd love to live taste your products, but unfortunately, UPS man's been leaving stickers on my door in my house, not my office. Dear God, what do they fucking put this on with concrete? Jesus. This thing is like 15 pounds and it wouldn't come off. And here's the thing, you know, when someone really gets into their whiskey, they make these really fancy packages. So this is Breckenridge single malt. Actually, no, it's not a single malt. This is distilled from malt mash. Yeah. This was released in 2016. It is $300. Okay. I can tell from the nose that I would not be recommending you pay that $300. So, no, I don't have any more notes on that. Okay, so it's young. I don't know the age on it. We're just going to be talking about the taste of it. Okay, so it's got like some sweet feed to it, some kind of Play-Doh. It smells like Play-Doh. And grapefruit. So, yeah, there you go. Nope. So, man, that was not pleasant. And here's the thing. I actually have had a lot of Breckenridge stuff, and I like it. I think I gave one of their products something in the 90s once. You know, so this is, to me, this seems really out there for a high quality distiller normally. So nice bottle. It's got a dragon on it. So if you like dragons, I will say, now that I look at the bottle a little bit, I mean, it makes me think that they're probably trying to go kind of like some of the Japanese malt routes. And if you put that hat on, so think of like St. George's Big Ball, or is it Big Baller? Baller whiskey? It's Baller whiskey. You know, if you think about that, then it's kind of in that wheelhouse, but quite a bit further down. But I can't get over the Play-Doh smell. It's just not doing it for me. Okay, so that's Breckenridge Whiskey Dark Arts, and it gets a no. Okay, here's a fun one. I'm really excited about tasting this. This is Balcones Texas High Rye Bourbon. Now, this is the 10th anniversary of Balcones, and if you know the story of Balcones, you know they went through some public stuff. Their founder, you know, Chip Tate, parted ways with like the new with like investors, and it just was very messy, very public. And I think both sides now have found their like they've both been reborn. And I'm Jared Hemstad is the master distiller there. Great guy, good family man. They've got, in my opinion, one of the best brand ambassadors in the business, and Winston. And so this is the 10th anniversary product of Texas High Rye Bourbon, pot distilled straight bourbon whiskey. It is 124 proof and is 32 months old. The mash bill is 55% blue corn, 32% Texas rye, 7% specialty rye, and 6% Golden Promise malted barley. Now, this is what's interesting. This is very, very interesting. Texas is not known for growing rye. growing rye is kind of meant for like the cold states, and Texas is pretty fucking hot. So it's they must have a special varietal there that they're growing in Texas. But look, that color is dark, damn near red. Amber waves of. See that there? Ooh. That's what I'm tasting. My first thought here on the nose is a big old whiff of molasses. That's a note that you get in rum, and usually I pick up in some bourbons, but that's usually like quite a bit older. It's a very complicated note. But when I smell molasses on something that's 32 months old, I'm quite a bit wowed. I don't expect to smell molasses. I got to just say this too. I'm growing up in Texas, and so I have to like pull out that that crazy Texas rivalry that I just have, that everyone from Oklahoma has. It's in their DNA. Like, you're born and you're supposed to like hate Texas, and Texas looks at Oklahoma as like, okay, that's nice, very nice. Go bring us some water. They don't think very highly of Oklahoma either. So I think I've done a pretty good job of putting my Texas hate aside. And that's mostly because of good people like Winston and Jared kind of helping me see the path of Texas whiskey. Brown sugar. Did you write that? Are you writing that part? You didn't write that part, did you?
Yeah, all of this is going in.
Why are you writing about my Texas thing? You don't need to do that.
It's your notes.
Okay, that's fair. There's my notes. Are you writing that too? Oh my God. Oh my God. She's writing that. Okay. Back to the taste. So molasses. Some vanilla. Palate's very different. The palate does not have any molasses notes on it. It does, however, have some nice smoke, some corn, like corn, cornmeal, cornbread, a sugar cookie, a very particular type of sugar cookie, the kind that's cooked and kind of has those crystallized sugars on there, and it's like chewy in the middle. It's got like that chewy sugar cookie note, and like an apple candy, an apple hard candy. What is really weird about this is like there's almost no penetration to the back of the palate. It's almost all focused down on the tip of the palate and the middle. Very, very interesting with how it hits the palate. Very interesting. But I will say that I've had some of their whiskeys I like better. And I'll taste this 2 more times to kind of give it my full overall thought and score. But we're ways. I got 2 more tastings on that, so I'm not ready to. I'm on the fence about it. I'm on the fence. Okay, so let's go to now Wilderness Trail, bottled and bond, rye bourbon.
Every time you hit that, it makes this huge, like.
Oh, does it really?
It's like a.
So
That's
yeah.
loud.
Is that loud? That bother you guys? I'm sorry. Okay, so here is some bottled and bond Wilderness Trail. Wilderness Trail is coming on the scene unlike really any distillery from that area before. They're in Danville, Kentucky, and they've got a lot of talent there. Really good distiller. Shane Baker comes from a distilling background, and and we're looking at probably some of the smartest people in fermentation. Dr. Pat Heist, he can look at a tree and see like a yeast crawling around and tell you what it's related to. The dude is a genius, and it's fascinating to listen to him talk about yeast. The man is passionate about yeast. Okay, so let's crack this open and see what Wilderness Trail Bottle and Bond is all about. And look at that. I even have a Wilderness Trail glass. So let's pour it in that. We may need a new glass. It smells like dust. Okay, I'm going to re-pour. I think that was a bad glass. Yes, Jessica's pointing out that I used them all last night for my cigar club. My cigar club met in my office yesterday, and it was pretty cool.
Right, before you do a review, you generally allow the whiskey to open up before testing, right?
Depends on the whiskey. If it's older, yes, I will let it open up a little bit, but that's kind of like the intention of swirling. But I mean, you're looking at what I'm doing here. I'm trying to be like that. And if I'm not on a pace of tasting 6 a day, she's gonna kill me. And I'm very much don't want to die. So yeah, so you have to be, in and out with it. Taste, spit, but you can't, if something's really old, I'll decant it. Like I decanted an Old Crow chess piece a few weeks ago and tasted that for an event, and it's also depending on the goal of the tasting, so my goal with this tasting is very analytical. These are all new products, so if they need to open up, then they've got a problem. So I can be, if a whiskey's kind of staying in the glass and it's not popping out, then that's the whiskey's fault. But the only brand I can think of that I reviewed and it was incredibly better after I had reviewed it was a Redrick bottle. Those, and I think I don't know what they did with those releases, but I think they really over filtered them, and there was one of them that just kind of was like it was dead, and then after a couple hours of oxygen, it came back alive or something. Anyway, Wilderness Trail Bottle and Bond. I have a guy looking at me in the window right now. It's kind of creepy. Yeah, so that was definitely a bad glass. The nose is very vanilla forward. Just a lot of vanilla. Damn, that's good. That's really good. Like a fried apple pie. That store-bought chocolate icing. You get it. It's like Betty Crocker. You peel it off and get a spoonful and whip it up. That's what this. It has like a chocolate, a store-bought chocolate icing note to it, which that kind of icing is different than a chocolate taste. To me, is different than like a Hershey's bar. I mean, so it's a very specific type of chocolate. Mm. Wow. Cinnamon, nutmeg. God, what else? What is that? There's like a spice, like it's not a pepper. You know, it's a little anise like. I'm just gonna say like spice, a unique spice, and I'm gonna come back to this. As mentioned before, I taste 3 times before I score, and this one I have a feeling is going to be breaking the 90s. This is really, really good. This is the Wilderness Trail Bottled and Bond, and I highly, highly recommend this.
So the black label is their rye, and the yellow label is their.
So it's bourbon. It's not rye.
No,
They in their mash bill they have rye in this mash bill, and the yellow is wheat. And the thing about Wilderness Trail is they sweet mash everything, so it's a fermentation technique. If you want to learn more about that, you can check out my book, Bourbon Curious. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to end the day with probably one of the most popular whiskeys in the world, Crown Royal. Now, why in the world would I taste Crown Royal National Bourbon Day? Well, let me tell you that the Canadians used to try and make bourbon. In fact, they used to bottle. You can go to my collection at the Bardstown Bourbon Company, and you will find Canadian bourbon. So, and even to this day, they do all the procedures of making what they could call bourbon if it was made in the United States, but instead of bottling them by themselves, they use them as blends. So the Canadians are blenders. And I think Canadian whiskey gets a little bit of a bad rap, you know. Oh, so this is Canadian whiskey blended. It's French oak cask finished. There's all kinds of language here, so it's yeah, you know, notes don't matter on this. I'll just taste it. Charcoal, 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 alcohol, charcoal. This is not. This is the kind of nose that says no. Like this nose is not good. You know, yeah, nope. This is not good. In fact, I'm just going to taste another Crown to see what this is like compared to. This is Crown Black, very, very popular product. No need to take notes on this. This is only to see what it tastes like compared to that one. Yeah, I guess it could go on the app. I don't care. Yes, the app. Go check it out. It's not live yet, but it will be soon. Look for BRBN Library in your app store. That's BRBN. Okay, so this is Crown Black. Much more appealing nose. It's got a very nice, sweet nose. Some spice to it. And that's good whiskey. I can sip on that on a regular basis. I don't, but I do recommend Crown Black. I don't recommend the Crown Royal Noble Selection, the French oak cask finish. It is not recommended. Tastes like licking a lump of charcoal. A lump of charcoal. Okay, So I think that wraps it up for our tasting today. I actually have a charity dinner tonight. I auctioned myself off quite a bit to raise money for charities. How was that funny? How was that funny?
It's just the way you said it.
How did I say it?
You auctioned yourself off.
Well, I do. I go up there, and actually, I was the auctioneer on this too. It was kind of. I did a little shimmy. I shook a little bit, but I love. I'm a sucker for raising money for charities, and this was for one I'm really passionate about. It's called Dare to Care, and I think I went for $1,400, and I'm going to a person's home, and we're going to have a tasting, and have some dinner, and hopefully raise get them motivated to come back to our event this year. It's a June or July 16th. You can go to the Dare to Care website to learn more. I also have a tasting on Sunday. Right, it's Sunday, in which I'm working with some police officials or highway patrol. Are they what? They're police security organization. They help people, that kind of thing. And I'm going to hopefully teach them a thing or two about bourbon. So if you would like to learn more about how to get involved with some of my charities, or bring me into for a live tasting, just hit us up in the comments or reach out to us on our website. It's fredminnick.com. And there's a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipe that I got going. With a big one, a big one, is Bourbon and Beyond. I don't know if you all have seen the headliners: Foo Fighters, Robert Plant, ZZ Top, Zach Brown Band, and me. I'll be, I got my own stage where I've got a lot of cool programming. We actually have the very first seminar on the history of slavery in American whiskey. So it's a very, very bold seminar, and I think it's going to be a head turner. We got some other cool things like bourbon disruptors, and what is a master distiller. I think that will be a fun one indeed. Also, make sure you're subscribing to my magazine, Bourbon Plus. We just announced our new cover. It has James Bond star Jeffrey Wright on the cover. Isn't that cool? You can see that cover on the Bourbon Plus Instagram. Do we have a new product? Uh-oh. We just got a box in. We might have a box in. Let's see if we have a new. No. I thought we had someone here to give us a new box. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. Thank you all so much for joining me. And I'll see you next week, hopefully back at the 5 o'clock time slot. But if not, it'll be whenever it is. So until next week, cheers. Oh, make sure you tip your server. Peace.